Someone's
We're in
just
high
sat
demand.
there like waiting for the next Casanovian live stream.
Wonder
If we
who
get
that is.
if we get like another one, that's like two people. We're on track for a personal best. Usually get like
Yeah,
three. We usually get like three people.
Max. Yeah.
And they're like accounts that we've made just to get
Yeah.
that
Hey, you weren't supposed
retention.
to say that part.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, we're gonna have a discussion about why it's important, in our opinion, to master the art of cold approach. So you can essentially forget about women, and that might seem like a paradoxical thing to say because guys are learning the skill set so they can actually live in abundance of feminine beauty. But it was triggered by a voice message that you sent to me. I think it'd be good if you just kick off by explaining what you explained to me, and then we can dissect it and give the guys as much value as possible.
Yeah. Is this the voice note from yesterday or a different voice note?
The one from yesterday, where you were talking
Yeah.
about like your social bucket.
Yeah. So yeah, the voice note I sent over was pretty much a couple months ago I was unemployed. I didn't have my programming job, and then socially I was doing all right, but I couldn't really focus on my social life because I wanted to be making more money, programming money. And fast forward a few months now, I've landed my programming job. I'm doing really well. I'm getting paid, and I've met a couple of people in the building. I've got activity with girls, so my social bucket is very full right now. Financially, it's as full as I could expect at 23. I'm doing all right for myself. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but that's expected. I have to get there. And I found myself after work on a Friday researching like machine learning, just skills related to coding that I never really had interest in. But for some reason, there was some urge to make myself more valuable as far as gathering skills. And I was thinking about this. I was like, wow, like I just spent money to get coached on how to pick up women. I just landed a job. I'm doing well. I don't need to be doing extra credit activities like I'm doing, but there's something about having those areas taken care of where I'm like, wow, now that this has unlocked so much free time where I'm not thinking about girls, where I'm not thinking about my social life, where I'm not thinking about how do I make money, I am now able to refocus that what would be time spent on those areas to things that I want to learn, things that I have vague interest in. And then in this case, it was just things that would move me forward in general in my career, just in my life. And so that was the gist of the voicemail. And yeah, you were able to extract the theme here, which is basically what I was saying is taking care of the area of dealing with girls unlocks so much free time to be spent on areas that I actually want to spend it on.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think most people who follow this content, and certainly most people who sell this form of coaching, make it out that day game is the end game, right? It's almost like learn this skill set and then keep doing this skill set. Like you have to keep going out every single weekend. It has to be this. But for me, the way that I've always viewed it, and certainly the way that I teach it to guys such as yourself, is day game really is the catalyst for the rest of your life, right? Like what I want is for the guys who work with me to get the women side of things sorted so they can focus on what actually matters, right? And guys will be like, oh my God, you teach day game and you're saying that women are not the most important thing. Like, they're not. Right, like women are
Yeah.
not the most important thing. There's so many other priorities I think men should prioritize over women. But if you've not got the women aspect sorted, then you can't, in my opinion, be fully present and fully focused in those other activities. Because in the back of your mind, you're like, I still don't know how to get a girlfriend. I still don't know how to approach a girl. You might be doing well in your career. You might be traveling. You might be spending time with your family, but you're not really there and you're not really enjoying it because you feel as though I've still got this nagging urge where I know I still can't do this thing. So that's why I try and get it across the guys. Like get the women's side of things sorted ASAP, and then you can focus on what actually matters. And I think you've had this experience, and you said it to me like when we were in Warsaw together, how you would often find yourself before you'd unlock this skill set, you'd often find yourself swerving time with your family and not being fully there because in the
Yep.
back of your mind you're like, oh, I've got an opportunity with a girl, and if I don't get this opportunity, I don't know
Yeah.
how long it's going to be till another opportunity comes around.
That was a perfect way to put it. Yeah, I don't think I even put it in such eloquent words, such as a linguist like yourself. What was it, English literature?
Yeah.
But no, seriously. So I would I would decide to skip time with family, with my mom if she invited me out, with even with friends, but more specifically with family. Time that I know I won't get back, time that I'll regret skipping once they passed, because I'm like, well, this girl texted me and there's no date set up, but like I got to keep my this Saturday open just in case she just agrees to hang out with me. And if I was to think about this on a spectrum, I was thinking about this as you were speaking. It's like if it was a spectrum of like social skills, day gaming, approaching girls broad daylight would be like at the very end of the difficulty, which means that if you can build this skill, if you can get basically on the other side of the skill set, then it unlocks more or
Mm,
less all of the skills subsequent to it on the
mm,
spectrum, which
mm,
means that you can go hang out with your family, do all of these things, and you're still this person with a lot of energy and enigma because you've been able to do the hardest thing on the spectrum, so you can also interact with the world in a very fun way. You can also make lighthearted conversation with the cashier at the restaurant or the people that are around you in the restaurant. And so I don't know, that's kind of a tangent, but like I think that there's like value in unlocking this skill just for the sheer fact that it also unlocks a ton of other skills. A personal example would be I went on, and I keep my work life pretty separate, but I went on this like work retreat kind of thing with the small team that I work with. And yeah, because I've gotten this skill taken care of, I just found that it was so easy to integrate myself into
mm.
conversation. It was so easy to take charge of basically like the social responsibility and keep the energy up. And another example was I met a group of guys that live at the same building that I live at. And over a game of pool, they invited me out. We had a great time. And this is all because like I have the courage to actually step out of my comfort zone now, in a wild way, like in a very extreme way. So these little baby steps are a lot less extreme.
No, that makes sense. And I think springboarding from that, now once you do master this skill set, all of your interactions, especially with women, there is a non-neediness which underpins all of your interactions, right? It's a If you're on a date with a girl, maybe you don't vibe, right? But if you're in a position of scarcity, you just take what you can get. But
Yeah,
really, it learning this skill set, mastering the skill set, gives you a sense of abundance, yeah. And abundance isn't always having, but it's knowing you can have. And that's the nuance, and that is the source right there. It's the knowing that you can have, and therefore you can take it or leave it now. Okay, like
right,
if maybe there's like 4 or 5 girls in your phone that you could potentially have good times with, but maybe they just don't really vibe with you. You can take it or leave it because you know at any given moment you can go outside and cultivate more options for yourself. So it does there's this non-neediness now to the way that we operate, which certainly wasn't there for me before I'd actually mastered this skill set. It was always a case of, oh shit, like if I don't take my opportunity here, I don't know
yeah,
when other opportunities are actually going to come by. And I mean, the person that you are now compared to the person that you were before we worked together in Warsaw, like, I'm sure you can resonate with that as well. It's a little bit like it's like the self-made millionaire versus the guy who wins the lottery. Like if the guy who wins the lottery loses all of his money, he is more likely to get depressed because his
mhm,
fortune was based on blind luck. But
right,
if the self-made millionaire loses all of his money, he's like, okay, that's okay. I've got the skills to make it back. That's abundance. It's a knowing you can have. Even if
yeah,
you've gone through like I don't know, a 2 month dry spell voluntarily, right? Like that's fine to do as well. Because once you've got this skill set, you can check back into the game whenever you like. I think guys have this misconception of me definitely, where they think I'm out there like parading around the pavements every weekend for 5 hours because I need
right,
to keep my skills sharp. The skill set's never going to leave me, right? Like, yeah, it's good to have momentum behind me, but like this has been my life for the past 3 years. Before this, I was doing magic. Like, And that's the whole point, right? It's getting this skill set so it becomes something you are rather than something that you do. Then you can go and pursue other things. You can go out with your friends. You can go fishing. You can go watch the, I don't know, horse racing. And you're not in your head thinking like, oh no, I need to be on right now. I need to be on day game mode. Am I going to lose a skill set? Like, if you learn this properly, it never goes. You know, it's
Mhm.
like riding a bike. It's always going to be there. Yeah, it's nice to have momentum now and again, but that's the core theme of this discussion. It's to make guys recognize that day game is not the end game. Day game is a
Right.
means of allowing the rest of your life to flourish. And I think if any guys are listening to this and they've still not got this aspect of their life sorted, I would urge you, right? You don't have to learn the skill set with me, but I do recommend learning from somebody who you resonate with, who you trust, who you like, and you think, yeah, this guy can actually do a good job and give me this skill set. You know, I'm a big fan of paying for access.
Yeah.
Like I'm part of a coaching mastermind, like a high ticket coaching mastermind. And I think guys need to understand that you are your own biggest asset, right?
Mhm.
And you have to invest heavily in yourself. Like before I ever got in any of this, before I knew anything about cold approach or business or just anything, I always I'd get to the end of every month. I'd look back at what I'd spent my money on. I had nothing to show for it. And
Mhm.
everything that I was pissing my money on was in an attempt to get girls. Things that
Yeah.
I thought I could get girls with. Like, I don't know, spend like £300 on a night out because I was trying to be like impressive, or just pointless stuff like dating app subscriptions, or
Yep.
going on like trips away and like just not knowing how to actually interact with the world properly. So I think guys need to understand that, you know, you're your biggest asset. And yeah, I don't
I,
know. I think when it comes to investing in yourself, I think a lot of guys do have resistance. I think maybe pride gets in the way. I don't know. But yeah, I think
definitely.
just understanding that, you know, you're never gonna get your time back, right?
Yeah.
Like you can always make more money, but you're never gonna get your time back. And I think investing in yourself early as a man sets you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I remember we touched on this. I can't remember when this was, but yeah, it was exactly what you were talking about, where it was me paying for access to your brain and me paying to leverage your brain so that I didn't have to go through the 3 years that you went through
Yeah.
when building this skill set.
Mm,
And I really like your definition of abundance too. It almost simplifies just purely knowing that you can have, because if I know that I can have, it's almost as if a very important, very prominent filter is removed from my field of view. So whereas before it was okay, before I make any of these decisions, do I have a potential date lined up? Can I get a potential date lined up? Like, is there a girl? Do I have any girls as far as activity right now, or do I need to somehow cultivate that? And that before would look like hours on a dating app. That would look like me going out with friends that I didn't actually like or vibe with very well. I wouldn't say like, but just like that we didn't connect very well. But they were the only people that I had to go out with
mm,
because in hopes of getting girls. And it's funny because even in that scenario, there might be a little topic here, but even in that scenario, we would still pretend like that's not the reason why we were going out. It was just
mm,
like, yeah, let's just go out, but like we're not going to actually address the elephant in the room, which is all of us want to get laid tonight. But like we like relationships like this, we can just call this shit out. And
mm,
it's like because we can call it out, we can plan accordingly. But
mm,
as far as in that dynamic, it was just like we would go out and I would spend time with people that I didn't actually want to be with because I was just trying to gather options for myself. Whereas now, like you say, knowing you can have, it's like I wake up and I'm like, nice. Like, what do I want to get done today? What do I actually want to accomplish today? And it's not even like it's no longer even in the back of my head anymore. It's just like it's like extracted and it's over here because it's taken care of. And it's not like it's taken care of forever, but just through organic interaction every couple of days, like it doesn't even matter how frequently you approach. The point is that if you're getting a few numbers a week, then like you're always adding to this bucket. And so it's
mm,
like you're never really worrying about it getting too low. And if it ever does get too low, you know that you're a session or two away from filling it right back up again. And so the knowing you can have portion is almost, in my opinion, like the true definition of it, because having
mm,
is great, but knowing that you can have, just like you said, is knowing that you can make $1 million. So it's like
mm.
I don't actually need $1 million because if I ever do need it, I know I can get it. So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting part of what you were saying.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting as well because when guys are listening to this, they may misinterpret the advice that we're giving, and they may almost think that you don't have to go hard with the cold approach, right?
Right.
Like basically, what I would want from everybody listening to this is to dedicate a season of their life to mastering this.
Right.
Okay, the time period depends on where you're starting from. If you've actually got a
Absolutely.
good network of guys around you, if you're getting feedback, it really does depend. But I would say for anybody, giving themselves 90 days, like a 90-day immersion period where you are just focused on this.
Right.
Okay. And I apply that to anything I want to excel with. Magic was different. I was dedicated to that fucker for like 10 years, but I get obsessive with things. I really
Yeah.
do. Whatever I find, I sink my teeth into it and I want to become the best at it. I'm relentless with it. But having a 90-day immersion period, if you are completely new to cold approach, where it does become your everything. Like when I was learning this, I was consuming so much content. I was listening to podcasts, watching videos. I was going out, recording my conversations, listening. Like I was just living and breathing this skill set longer than that. And I was like obviously making infield footage as well, which is a crazy good way of actually making lightning progress because I was putting it onto the internet as well. So I was getting feedback like, "Oh my god, you're so shit at this. You look disgusting." Whatever. It's all useful. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But having that immersion period is so necessary. I think guys try and half-ass this process, and that's why I say to guys like, my coaching is not for everybody. Like you have to really want this. Right, I
Right.
don't have time for excuse makers or action avoiders or crybabies. Right, there's no
Right.
point in coming to work with me one on one if you're not prepared to put the reps in. Right, like this only works if you do. Okay, and you have to be prepared to give this your all. You will get out
Mhm.
what you put into it. But I think you're a perfect example of that. You rocked up in Warsaw and you knew exactly what was expected of you. Yeah, you were scared, you were nervous, you didn't have a fucking clue what to expect. You just met up with this guy from the internet. We're having like we were in a cafe. Remember that first day where
Yeah. Yeah.
it's actually pissing it
Oh
down in
yeah.
Poland, and you
Our
were like,
first date.
"Oh god, the world, it's like a ghost town over here."
Yeah. I was
But
like,
you
"What did you get me into, dude? You said this was the capital of day game here."
just like tumbleweed, absolute ghost town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just your perspective is useful here because what was your actual mindset coming into the coaching program?
Well, firstly, I think that like I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying about like you need to get to the point where, and I still see it as a spectrum. Like you need to get to the point where you're no longer action avoidant. You're no longer giving excuses, an excuse maker, because I was that at one point. Like before going through like a really aggressive self improvement journey after high school, like I still was that person who had a more or less like net negative view on life, who would talk about things as though like, oh, I have to go to work, I have to do this, and then it's just like a complete 180 over the course of a few years, where it's like, wow, I'm so thankful that I live in a place like this, that I have a job that's paying me a decent amount of money, and it's giving me so much flexibility. And it's like just really looking at the cup being half full.
Mm,
And then now I'll address your question though, which was my mindset going into Warsaw was, yeah, I was shitting it. I mean, like full transparency, like the plane ride over there, I was so nervous. Like I was relaxed in the
mm,
plane ride, but like just mentally, it was just my mind was going 100 miles per hour. Like I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how you were gonna be. I didn't know the exercises you were gonna put me through, and it was just blind faith, not blind faith, but like informed faith. Like I had consumed a ton of your content. We had
mhm,
spoken for months at a time, just passing voice messages back, and I'm like, all right, well, you can't fake this. Like, there's a level not only of conviction, but there's just a level of like intelligence that you have on this subject that you just
mhm,
can't, like you can't really fake it, because you wouldn't have the knowledge if you hadn't gone through enough of these experiences. And so going in was just like, this guy really seems to know what he's doing, and I don't, and I just
mhm,
trust that he knows and he can guide me. And like, if the worst case scenario is I get kidnapped in Warsaw. So if that doesn't happen, then probably something positive is going to come out of this.
mm,
And I wasn't even fully confident in myself. Like my roommate at the time, when I told him I was going to Warsaw for this, I even like I even lightened it a bit. I was like, yeah, like who knows? I might pussy out and not even do it, but at least I'll get to sightsee. Like I said that as like a fail safe, just in case I came back being too scared to build the skill set. But no, once I was out there, once I felt your energy the first time we met up, I felt your belief, your conviction for like what you do and how you coach it. And then also the biggest piece here is I felt what you call your maternal and paternal energy.
Mm.
Whereas you, even in the first talk in the cafe, like I was already prepared for like getting punched a ton, and I was like, yeah, dude, don't take it easy on me. Like, put me through your hardest drills. The way I learn is when you throw me in the deep end, and I have to figure it out. And that's what I thought it would be about. But then you started asking more targeted questions, which I would call the maternal energy about like, okay, but like what's the deeper reason why you're here? Why are you doing this? And I was just starting to think about these things, and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting these questions. I thought he would just say, all right, go up to that girl. All right, go up to that girl. All right, you suck. All right, do it again. But it was a lot of like care and a lot of deliberation before even going in for my first approach, where it's like, well, let's think about what you're firstly trying to get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, how is cold approach going to get you closer to your goal? And a
Mm.
lot of that, the answer to that was revealed as we were going through it. But yeah, all in all, I mean, that was my mindset, was to summarize it into one word: scared. I was really scared. But yeah, I just knew I was going to go for it. And then just to touch on the piece about implementing feedback, that was just that was just a result of me being past the threshold of being able to work with Kristian. Like, that was just me being mentally tough enough, resilient enough to be able to do to be able to build a skill such as cold approach in a month. That's that's the point to which you need to get to build the skill. So the people that work with Kristian and all they do is give excuses, or they can admit when they're scared, it's not that they're just like a person unable to build the skill. It's just they're not there yet. Like, they still have accessory skills. They still have prerequisite skills they need before they can implement cold approach into their life. That's my thinking, at least.
No, 100%. Like you're so right. Like not everybody is ready for this, and that's fine. And
Yeah.
I think when guys meet me, I think when I make content online, I think it's easy to get misinterpreted online. I think I'm guilty for that as well. I think sometimes, on many occasions, I've come across as quite obnoxious or whatever. It's the internet, but I think
No.
I think I think when I meet people, like people that I really connect with, there is this unquestionable level of care that I feel for the guys who come through this. And I think, and yeah, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, but it's important. I think because the way that my coaching is structured, because basically I worked it out, and there's like three phases of this experience. First of all, there's the immersion. Okay, so that's the actual coaching where I give you the playbook and I hold you accountable for your actions. Now, most service providers, it ends there. Right, you do the coaching, maybe you get results, maybe you don't, and then all right, bye. You're on your own now. That's just the start, right? The time that we spend together, the actual coaching, that's just the start. So we do the immersion. So now you've got the playbook. I'll hold you accountable. Again, it only works if you do. So you need to prepare to actually put in the reps. Then the second phase is the network phase, which you're now a part of. Network is everything, right? You can't do this on your own, and you can't just do it with me either. You need to have a masculine support network of like-minded guys who can push you, support you to become all you can be. And that's why the entourage, the group and the network that you're part of, you can't build an army with one person, right? You need generals, you need brigadiers, soldiers, tribesmen, like you need all of it. And that's why the network aspect is probably just as important as the actual coaching. I don't think there's any point in getting coaching if you're not also going to become part of a private community. That should be a given for me, but it's not out there. Most of the time it's just coaching, that's it. So immersion, network, and then, which I think is the coolest part, is the lifestyle phase, right? So basically, like the time that we spend together, that's just the start of everything. You get the coaching, then you get the network, but then you've got an open invitation to come and join me wherever I go in the world. So we're having a Renaissance party in London next coming weekend. Good, you can't be there, but we'll host more, Dory.
Yeah.
And this is where we get everyone together, right? Get everyone together in one location. Everyone can vibe, network, share ideas, and I think that's the beauty of it. And basically, what this means is, if in the highly unlikely event by the end of the time that we spend working together, if you're not happy with the progress that you've made, then I'm essentially working with you for free anyway until you're happy. It's a lifetime commitment from me to you, which is why I don't work with everybody, because I don't want to be committed to life to people that I don't actually want to be friends with, right?
Right.
This matters to me. And I don't want anybody in my network or my lifestyle or my community who I don't like as a person, or I don't feel as though is ready for this.
Yeah.
So I think that holistic transformation, if any of those parts are missing, I don't think you're going to reach your full potential. There's no good in getting coaching if there's no aftercare. There's no good in being part of a network who doesn't push it. There's no good being invited into a lifestyle where there's been no coaching. Like that one-on-one, individually tailored level of care, like that's what gets results. But that's just the start. You know,
Yeah.
like I could go to a fitness retreat in Thailand and they give me the diet, the nutrition, the sleep schedule. But if I go home and start stuffing my face with donuts because I've got nobody to actually hold me accountable, then it's kind of just a waste of time. So I think where you're at now, how useful is it being to actually be part of a network of guys who actually share or have even just gone through the same process as you?
Yeah. I think I have a particularly unique viewpoint here too, because I am on the other side of the hemisphere, or I'm
Yeah,
on a different hemisphere right now,
yeah,
and I have nobody in the space that I know that I physically am around ever. And the only people are around Christian or on that side of the world pretty much. And I've never met any of these guys in person except for Christian. And it's been very helpful. It's been the days where I am going out on my own, which is every day, that I'm a cold approaching.
mhm,
The times where I second guess myself, where I have a bunch of bad, a bunch of blowouts in a row. It's a place that I can lean on, and then also it's fun. Like community, you've revealed this to me that community is just a really important part of life,
mm,
and I don't have community in this aside from the entourage. There is no other community for me in this area because this isn't something. Just a very small tangent. I was talking to a guy at the gym yesterday. We were spotting each other, and he goes. I asked him like his interests, not thinking he would reciprocate. And then he asked me, "What about you? What are your interests?" And everything I could think about. Oh, day game, cold approach. Oh, I make YouTube videos on how to pick up girls. I'm like, this isn't shit you can just drop on somebody, you know. So I was like, oh, I like to play pool, and like, I can't think of much because this is really a big portion of my life. But all this to say that the community aspect is so important.
mm,
It's pretty much the piece that I lean on when I don't know where else to go. And this isn't even just day game. It's like day
mm.
game, but also everything that it affects, which is pretty much life. And so it's like any decision that I need to make that's big, anytime that I have like an event that I particularly liked or something that went really wrong, like the very first thing I do is I pull out my phone, even like seconds after it happened, and I'm sending a message to Christian, I'm sending a message to the Entourage group. I'm like, what do you boys think about this? Have you run into something similar? How did you handle it if you did? How would you avoid running into this in the future? Just like questions like this that there is nobody else in my phone that I can ask that to. I can't go like, "Hey, Dad, so like I just approached this worldly, and this is how she like." It doesn't work. So the
Y-
community aspect is huge for me.
Yeah, and I think what we find as well is the guys who are involved with this, you can really talk about like you can talk about anything with them.
Yeah,
Like it's like there's no topics which are off the radar. And
right.
that's a very special thing. I've not found that in any other place. Like when I was in the Magic community, it was magic or nothing. I was never
Yeah,
going to talk to Magic people about my fucking hashtag feelings or my mental health
yeah,
or clarity.
yeah,
None of that. It was just magic. That's what we
yeah,
spoke about. Or when I played sports as a kid, like when I used to swim, we spoke about swimming. All right, if we weren't speaking about swimming, we weren't talking. This is
right.
the only community that and I think maybe it's because I've created it as well, because it's
Yeah,
been carefully crafted to allow the people in who I know are going to complement it. Like, I don't want any energy leeches, right?
right.
And that's why I've always seen myself as separate to the whole day game industry. I don't see myself as a pickup artist. I don't even see myself as a day game coach or a dating coach. I see
Right.
myself as different things. Like I've had different labels. I like freedom from bullshit practitioner. I like Renaissance
Yeah.
warrior. I like fantasy artist. I really like that one. That was
Yeah.
that came from the
Real ambiguous.
conversation the other day, because obviously it's got the magic connotations. But I think I am speaking to people's
Fantasy art.
fantasies, right?
Yeah.
When I do this, like
Yes.
someone
Yes.
said to me, a client in Copenhagen was like, "You work in the business of dreams," and like, ooh,
Yes.
that really
That was
hit
good.
deep with me. I was like, yeah, we were sat in a park very late, having very deep discussions. He's like, yeah, you work in the business of dreams, and then like now I'm like, yeah, fantasy. Like, I am speaking to people's fantasies. I think that's what we all want. Like we don't want realism, we want magic, and I think this is what this provides you. But in the real world, it's not like let's just talk about ideas. Like
Right.
I'm a very practical person. I like practical solutions. I like to be like, right, do this, and this will equal that. But I also like to bring in that spiritual aspect and go on a deeper level. Like it's deeper than day game, right? The amount of different areas of your life that you unlock, like you're talking about the spectrum, and yeah, it really is dating on hard mode. That's how George described it to me. He's like, yeah, it's dating on hard mode. Like when you can do this, you can do anything, and that's why I think having that dedicated period where you immerse yourself in this, like day game teaches you so much about yourself. And it upsets me sometimes when people who don't understand this industry look in at it and they just think, oh, it's just about picking up girls. That's all it is.
Right.
Like, yeah, it is that for some people. It is just a means to an end. It is just a means of acquiring leads. And look,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that, but I do think that's got an expiry date to it. I think if your only focus is go out, do approaches, pick up girls, you're not really viewing it as the hero's journey or how this is going
Right.
to elevate you holistically. I think that's why most guys give up, or let's just say bad things happen to them. Like there's just been
Right.
so many just bad instances in this industry where guys have basically ended their own life because they were just so submerged into pickup. And what I've noticed as well is the more my actual videos have been evolving, like I've gone away now from just making like purely infield footage. Like
Right.
I view the content I make now, it's like spiritual art. They're just really nice cinematic pieces. I really enjoy making them. But what I noticed very peculiarly was I'm not getting the same guys who used to comment 2 years ago. Like when I was making infield footage, if you make infield footage, you're going to attract the PUAs. You just are. It's part of the package. But now the videos that I'm making, I'm just attracting a different type of guy, a different type of client. Now when I'm on the phone to guys who are applying to work with me, they're the exact guys that I want to attract. Like
Right.
it's the guys who we connect on so many deep levels that this is. I almost view the YouTube algorithm as God operating in disguise. It's like
Mm.
I'm attracting my people from the platform of YouTube through the vehicle of day game. But it's like for me, it feels like we were always meant to meet each other. Like, I believe
Yeah.
that we were always meant to meet each other. The guys in the group, we were always meant to meet each other.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to my guys, I feel as though I'm talking to myself because I feel as though we're already like spiritually connected in some past life. And I think that's why it's important to find a group of guys who you resonate with, because then I don't know, you just don't feel as though you're alone in the wild anymore.
Yeah. Wow. First of all, fantasy. It was fantasy, or you're in the
Artist,
business of dreams, and you're a fantasy artist. Wow.
that's the
I
one.
I
Yeah,
really like that label a
I
lot.
like it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
because I even told you while we were working together, I was like, this is all I dreamt about was
Yep.
being able to do stuff like this, and
Mm.
now it's a reality. So I mean that's like a very fitting title, genuinely.
And yeah, and
So
that is it. Just before you go on your next tirade, that is the
of
key
course,
point, because that's the
yeah,
difference between dreams and goals. Like goals require action, dreams just require thoughts. It's not a case of
wow,
let's just talk about your dreams. No, you tell me what you want and I'll fucking make it happen, because I'm here for you for life. That's why the
yeah,
lifetime commitment is there. Like I want you to be successful. Your success is my priority, because
yeah,
I don't want anybody to leave feeling disappointed. Yeah, it's on you. Of course it is. Like you have to take responsibility for your own actions, but I don't want anybody to feel as though like I let them down, because I see myself in my clients. I see how I was like 10 years ago, absolutely just fucked. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. So it matters to me, but
yeah,
I can't help everybody, and that's why I don't work with everybody. Anyway, go on.
yeah. Well, two things. So one is so the business of dreams is very interesting, but one thing that I wanted to highlight though is you kind of like had this idea before bringing it into reality, which is kind of like what's happening right now. Is it's starting to become a reality, but you had this like overarching idea of community. First of all, I coming into this, I was the guy that like I was just looking for more leads. I didn't know that there's more depth to myself even
Mm,
than just that. I was like, well, I'm gonna reach out to Christian, I'm gonna learn how to do the thing, and then I'm gonna go on with my life.
mm,
And you revealed to me that there was more to this. The second thing I was gonna say before talking about like the community part is okay, I forgot what it was. Either way, the community aspect, you wanted to cultivate a very large sense of community in this space. And I guess my question to you is, it seems as though it's really starting to take off now. Like, not only is your business really doing like extremely well every time I talk to you in a new country coaching a new person,
mm,
but you've got a group of people that are starting to bridge the YouTube gap now and go our separate ways as far as like our niche of this area and the content that we want to put out. And the question is not only like what is it like as the person that as the catalyst for all this, but also like we're working in a very like in a very gray area right now, whereas there is no structure to this stuff, especially like day gaming. Like let alone YouTube, but now like a space where it's not really defined super well. We kind of have to make our own definitions as we go. So it's like what is your vision for this? How do you see us all moving forward? Are we moving towards a goal that you had initially set, or was there even a goal? And yeah, I don't know, just like general questions that start popping into my head because I think about like what I do for work and it's
mhm,
very structured and
mm,
I have a set of tasks that I'm given, and I have a deadline that I'm expected to complete them by, and I can see very clearly, very visually, even though software engineering is still a bit abstract. I can very clearly see in written word how what I'm doing is going to directly influence or I guess impact the product and how it's going to make it more valuable in customers' eyes. I can see the mission of what we're trying to solve. I can see all of that. Whereas here, it's like the general mission that we're trying to solve. Oh, that was the second thing. Quick tangent was that I feel as though this skill set has made me more empathetic in
mm.
general because me having to go through that now I can turn around. I can turn my back to the skill. Look at all the guys who want the skill, and I can just like I can see what I felt in them, just like you say,
Mm.
and that makes me a lot less critical of people. That may like I would never joke about this stuff when I can see somebody's really struggling with it. And like, let's say I was trying to help them through the skill set. It's like the maternal part of it. Yeah, like
Mm.
that's something that you helped me unlock. But back to what I was saying is it's all concrete. I can see my impact on the company. But here, not only do I like the mission more, like which but it's like what is the mission? Like if we were to define it, it seems like the overall mission is like make as many lives of as many men closer to what they want dating wise as possible. I don't know. Like, how would you define it?
Yeah, it's it's a good question. I mean, I want the world and I want everyone who's associated with me to win. Yeah. And I think for me, it's helping people reconnect with their most authentic selves because there's a conflict within all of us between the person we want to be and the person we feel as though we need to be and the person we've always been. There's that weird, just like
Hmm.
conflict between all of us. And I think so many guys these days are brainwashed by the brain dead, right? They're following so much dogma, especially this like hyper masculine red pill content. You have to be a high value man, all this bullshit. I've gone down that rabbit hole so many times. But really, I just want the guys who associate with me to win, and I want them to be full bodied versions of themselves where they're not afraid anymore. Like I've always used the mantra freedom from bullshit because I think it perfectly encapsulates everything that I do. Like I want freedom. I want us all to be free. And the things like making YouTube videos, getting views and vanity metrics, or even making money, I see all that as confirmation that I'm doing the right thing. I'm not
Hmm.
motivated by money. I'm not a materialistic person. I enjoy making it because it's fun. It's a game. I like
Hmm.
knowing that what I'm doing is valued by the market, and I've spent a long time learning more about the financial aspect, all that stuff. I find it very interesting. But it's not that. And I have this conversation with myself all the time. Really, I'm motivated by love. That's what it is. Like, I
Mm.
love the feeling of making other guys feel as though they're important and that they matter and that they are actually loved. And it's a weird thing to say because like I wouldn't have had this conversation maybe a year ago because I would have just got in my own way. I love the feeling of being loved. And I say to
Yeah.
people now all the time, "Oh, I'm in love." Like, "Oh, who with?" Nobody. Just
Yeah.
this. Like this.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Like that's the greatest currency of life is love. I think when you bring a group of people together and you all share the same thoughts and views and you're all on the same purpose, you might not even know the true definition of the thing that you're searching for. But I think there's this beautiful cacophony of love which radiates around the conversations I have when I meet people for the first time. Like I just want to give. Like that's literally it. I don't want to take. I don't want to work with people who don't think that I can't help. Like, I just want to give like as much as possible. Like, I want to get to the end of my life and be like, yeah, I've genuinely made a difference. And yeah, there'll be people who hate me regardless. That's fine. I'm happy with that because I think when you polarize, you know you're on the right track. Like
Right.
if everybody likes you, you're not living, you're
Right.
hiding. Right?
Right.
You need to polarize. You need people to detest you. I need people to watch this live stream and be like, yeah, but you're a dating coach. You should just be talking about how to get laid. Like I love it. It's my life energy. I need that. I can't have
Yeah.
everybody being a cheerleader to me. But
Right.
it's like Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. So it's about finding your people and it's about
Mm.
being famous for a few. I think that's what people don't understand when they're trying to build like online businesses or brands or whatever. Like you don't need millions of people. You just need
Mhm.
people who give a fuck about you to care about you enough to be able to join you on your mission. But yeah, in a long-winded way, it's that it's knowing that I'm actually making a difference to the lives of people who resonate with me and like what I do. But yeah, I don't know where this is going to be in 10 years. I don't know what we're all going to be doing, but I like to think that we're all extremely fulfilled in whatever
Yeah.
discipline. I might be working on a farm, and that's great.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, it's a good way to put it because in the line of work that I do, it's like you need to have a defined goal in order to move forward. But it's like
Yep.
here, we don't really like there doesn't need to be an overarching goal in order for us to continue improving in this area, but also just in life in general and getting better. But yeah, I think about it often because like you're cultivating such a wide array of people and different skill sets and people that own businesses and people that program and people that are in sales and just in so many different areas of life. But then that's just professionally. But then we're talking about people who are doing yoga retreats,
Mm,
people who are doing stand up or like improv classes, and
mm.
like there's just so many skills within this group that we have now, and you're continually adding to it with your new clients that you know that earn their way into the group, and so I just wonder like because there's no structure there's nothing that's defined here like there is no overarching goal so but eventually like I feel like we're such a valuable group if you were to
Mhm,
like add us all together
mm,
and it wouldn't even be addition right because our skills would almost like exponentially grow together
mm.
so I don't I just wonder like what we'll be able to accomplish as a group even if that maybe just means like starting our own like version of this movement which you've already you've jump started but just like growing it and growing it doesn't even necessarily mean more people
Mm.
like as a byproduct of growing you need more people but I don't mean growing like millions of people but growing like making this content more accessible and easier to find to the people that actually are going to utilize it and be a part of it even so
A million percent. I think that's one of the reasons as well why there's more of a feminine influence on this channel to some degree. Like if you look at like especially the clips that I show now on the videos, the girls know they're part of the filming. Like they're actively there.
right
It's not this weird like covert thing anymore where it's like super
right
sneaky. Look, there is value in infield footage, and I'm going to continue to make it because there is value there. Right? Like so much value. You need guys who want to work with me need to know that I can do the thing. And that's why
right
I invest a lot of money into going and filming more of this footage. I've just got back from a filming project in Milan. So the videos are going to start to surface. Like I always want to be like ahead of the game. I don't want to fade into obscurity because I've been like, well, I've made infield footage now for 3 years. I don't need to make it anymore. So I'm just going to sit behind a screen and give advice. No, like I want
Right.
to be out there in the field, like making the cutting edge content and showing people that I've still got the skill and I can do the thing. Like that matters to me. I love it. There's nothing quite like making infield footage. It's so fun. But like
Yeah.
the you're right in terms of the footage needs to be accessible, and I want people to view this industry as necessary and
Yeah.
a healthy way, because the belief has
Whereas
always
if it's
remained the
viewed as
same.
like shiesty now. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. There's just that. There's that, which I do understand, right? And that's the issue, because the industry is divided between what we are and just the old
Hmm.
school pickup guys who just view women as this means to an end, right? They're just these sexual objects that they can get their gratification from. And the reason that their results suck so much is they don't even like women, right? That's why
Right.
they don't get anywhere, because they don't like women,
They
right?
just
They
like the
hate.
validation.
That's it, right? I think, look, we all gone through that phase, but I'm happy to say I've come out the other end, and now
Right.
my relationships with the feminine are actually based from a position of love. Like, I actually love women, right? And it's
Right.
like, I don't think a lot of guys are in that position because they're scared, they didn't have the best start in life, they got rejected early on, or I don't know, whatever. I get it, but you have to get out of that phase. You actually have to love and respect yourself, love and respect women. Like, the world is better when you actually have that going for you. But yeah, I think the industry needs to move away from this shady, like, resting the camera on a bin just to capture the footage. Like, it's important, but at the same time, infield footage will always be necessary, because I think you have to see the guy who you're going to work with
Right.
doing the thing. Like, in my opinion, you cannot run a day game business if you've got no infield footage. I mean, you probably can, but it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
It's like, if I
I
want to
can't.
work with a if I want to work with a personal trainer, I want to see what sort of shape he's in. If he's wearing like a
Yeah. It's
fat
got to be
suit, and I'm like, bro,
swole.
what are you hiding? Like, why can't
Right.
show me some receipts? What do you mean you can't show me how to bench press? Like, you got
Right.
no
Right.
limbs. So
Right.
it's important to actually show the receipts. But at the same time, the industry can't get stuck there. I see people posting the most atrocious infield content online, because the issue with this industry is not regulated. It's very low barrier for entry. Anyone can
Mhm.
start posting infield footage and christen themselves as a coach. And
Right.
that's the scary part of this. It's
Right.
unregulated, right? And I think that's why a lot of guys jump from coach to coach, because maybe they go for a cheaper option, or maybe they just
Right.
go with somebody because that's the first video that pops up on their algorithm. Like, you need to know who you're investing into, right? And like, any bozo can start making fucking infield content. Next minute, he's a fucking coach now.
Right.
You need more than that, which is why I think the client testimonials, the client infield footage, like, you need all that shit.
Yeah.
But I just think it's important for guys to actually have intelligence when it comes to deciding, okay, is this person trustworthy or credible?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that was the biggest piece of me deciding to work with you was the infields. And funny story how that happened actually. I don't know if we ever even talked about it publicly, but yeah, I was meant to work with a different coach actually. And I was reaching out to this coach and they had a whole team of people that would respond because I guess they were so busy and
Mm.
just very late responses, very cookie cutter emails. They a template where they delete the other person's name and write Ephraim, like it's one of those fucking things. The guy set an introductory call up with me and sent me an email invite confirming that we had an appointment and then no showed me. So it's like already I knew that this industry was kind of shady. That was my very first experience in the industry, actually trying to like weasel my way into it.
Mm.
And then yeah, thankfully my second experience was completely a 180. It was with you and yeah, the mindset that you brought to not only this industry, but then also just like coaching and I almost don't even want to say this industry anymore. It's like you've kind of like made an industry of your own
Mm-hmm.
almost, where it's like, yeah, we're still like tied to day game, but that's just because like that's the vehicle through which we're sharing content. That's how we learn the skill. Like that day game is the medium through which we learn the skill, but the life game aspect is like where all of the skill is actually applicable. It's that pushing past your fear. It's like now
Mm.
I go in for an approach less because I want more options and more because I want to push past the fear of not of doing the approach. And I get scared and I go for situations that I know will be more bold now because I want to push the envelope. I want to make myself I want to acclimatize myself to discomfort in this
Mm.
area because I know that it'll translate to all other areas of my life, wherever I am with whoever I'm with, even if it just means like going up to the group of people next to us at a beach saying, hey,
Mm.
you guys want to come over and play volleyball with us or whatever. It's like that still takes even though it's a small level of confidence compared to day game, it still takes a little bit of confidence. There's a lot of people that couldn't even do something like that. So it's like doing the very, very uncomfortable, like we talked about, really just unlocks all of these previous skills. And yeah, it just makes life easier to go through almost.
Yeah, I like the label of life game. I think it's applicable because yeah, that's what it is. Like day games should be a part of a already abundant lifestyle. You know, it
Right,
can't be your entire reason for being. That's why I say learn day game, but fuck's sake, don't become a day gamer.
yeah,
I meet guys like if I'm in London, they'll come over to me. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh, watch your videos." I don't know, whatever they say, and there's just no substance to them.
right,
They're dead behind the eyes. They think that all they want to talk to me about is day game. It's like,
yeah,
bro, I'm with my friends right now. I don't want to talk about fucking day game. Talk to me about
right,
something else. Let's go out for
yeah,
a drink together and talk about fucking art or poetry or how the football's getting on. Like
right,
this can't be, and that is the issue. And I think a lot of guys are just very blindsided by it. They just think that my life just consists of day game. If I don't talk about anything related to day game, then I'm almost cheating on the industry. It's like, bro,
right,
you need to wake up, right? Like there's so much this world has to offer you. You need to master the art of cold approach, like learn game or whatever you want to. Because for me, game is just learning how to get what you want. That's my
mm,
definition of game. It's learning how
mm,
to get what you want. That applies to every single thing that you do in your life. Learn day game, don't become a day gamer. Get this skill set down so then you can actually focus on what matters. And what matters is different for everybody. For some guys, it might be friends, family, mental health, travel, pursuing their passions, whatever it is. You need to free up the mental bandwidth. But I do think you need to get this area. It's like saying to a guy who's starving to forget about food. The guy can't forget about food until he's had his meal and he knows where his next meal is coming from.
yeah.
If you don't know where your next meal is coming from, then brother, get
You're
that shit sorted. Get that shit sorted because you're gonna be hungry for the rest of your life and you're gonna be an absolute nightmare to be around. What is it like? You're not you when you're hungry. It's very true. So you need to get a Snickers inside of you, that good chocolate bar, and but yeah, I think that's I think we've covered really. I think we've covered everything we want to talk about. Is there anything that you would like to add?
No, I think we're freeballing it at this point. Yeah, we definitely encapsulated the topic though really well.
Cool,
Yeah, the only
good.
thing I would add is just I always have to plug your business. So just to briefly touch on like what what our experience did for me is I I had some experiences with women previous to meeting Christian and just not many, but I knew how to at least like talk to one, like hold a very platonic conversation with one, but I still, I wasn't nearly where I wanted to be. And yeah, fast forward to meeting Christian, I mean he first of all helped correct my mindset with things, which is that it's it kind of was more of like that victim mentality of like the world is happening to me and like I have to learn this skill because women are they are sneaky and I have to get this shit taken care of. But he helped correct that to like, well, if we can just like have crucial accountability, self accountability, then and then operate from that frame, then this skill set you'll be way better off learning this skill set, with that mindset. But then yeah, he threw me through a ton of drills. We spent a month together every single day in Warsaw. We were hitting the pavement. And what I got out of it, the smallest thing as far as what I got out of it was the ability to pick up girls. And I'm very efficient at it now. And I can do it. Not I wouldn't say easily, but I can just do it really effectively. I still
Mm.
have like a huge hurdle that I need to go over each time that I start a session. Maybe it's the first approach of the day, but it's like you've helped me realize that that's okay. Like being comfortable with having to get over the initial social resistance is just like that's just part of the game. That's just like how this goes. So, but yeah, I'd say that's the smallest part of what you offered because after our experience is really when I really felt all of the benefits, which is that I was able to really like critically look at my small group of friends and go like, is this even serving me anymore? Like, am I pulling any value out of the time that we spend together, or was it just simply like we hang out, we're in the same room together existing so that we can attract girls at a higher percentage
Yeah.
of success. And now it's just like, well, like I'd rather just cut myself off from that entirely and like start this from scratch. Now looking for people, not even looking, but just like attracting people that have a similar view on life and like improving in general. And we've already touched on this, but now the time that it's unlocked with my family, with people that I really want to spend a lot of my time with, and no longer is it like I'm on a schedule with them now. It's just like, yeah, I have a
Mm.
Saturday. I don't have any plans. Like I'll spend the whole Saturday with them in and also in parallel be doing something productive. I'll bring my laptop, I'll be working, and I'll be with them. So it's like killing two birds. But that's something I never would have even considered. It would just be like maybe when my mom called, maybe, yeah, I'll get over there at some point. But it's like now I'm proactively doing it, and I just know that when I'm 40, I'll be looking back like, yeah, I'm glad that I was able to take care of the skill set. So now I can spend time where I want to spend time. So all in all, I was very satisfied with the exchange. I got way more value out of it than I paid for, and that's clear because this is still me. Like this is still part of it. Like what we're
Yep.
doing now, the channel that sprung from this,
Yep.
not like now my vision, which is like connected into your vision of like just helping all of these guys who seem helpless, and
Mm.
like there is a way, like we'll show you the way. If you want to learn, then we'll give you the playbook. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier with the experience. So I always got to like, plug your business. If you're even considering working with Christian, I'd say do it as soon as possible because this is still like his early stages of his, let's say, career in this industry. Like he's still in the very early stages. Imagine even 5, 10 years, he might not even be in the day game space anymore. Like you might not even have access to this version of him anymore. So you might not have access to him at all as far as if we were to look at the trajectory of where things are going. So
Yeah, that's a really nice way of putting it. I might not even have access to this version of myself. That's a great expression. Wow,
like
that's really
that,
yeah, yeah.
nice.
That did things
I'm
to
I'm I'm
me.
playing it cool, but I'm smiling inside.
I
I'm
know,
like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm
where
like,
did
yeah,
that come from?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You just,
That was
you,
off the cuff, man.
you haven't been rehearsing that in your room for the past 10 days.
No, yeah. That wasn't
Wow.
written down on the whiteboard behind me.
Just Siri pops up on your phone. Now's the time. Do it now. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, wow, I really like that. That's
Yeah,
so good. I'm good. Oh, that's so good. Like, yeah, because very, very good. We might not even have access to this version of ourselves again. Wow, that's great. Yeah, I'm
thank you.
really, really starstruck by that expression. I really, really
Especially
like
from
it.
an American, huh? That's like an extra plus
I know,
five.
right? I thought you had like 10 words.
Yeah, that's about
Whoa,
it.
two of which were
Yeah.
cheeseburger. Oh,
Dude,
that's
every
great.
every other voice note I send you, I'm like, yeah, dude, I did an approach. It was at McDonald's, and
I remember one approach you told me about was like, yeah, I saw this girl, but I hadn't got my like Big Mac and fries yet.
yeah, and I missed it. Oh,
That is the most
that one
American
still haunts
excuse
me.
I've
That
ever heard.
still haunts me. Oh my god. I was like, dude, I was waiting for my McGriddle, but she was gonna get on the bus. Oh, what do I do?
So funny.
Oh
That's
man.
hilarious. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end it because yeah, you've surpassed me now. I can't
Yeah.
respond. I can't respond with any better. Well, I can't even speak. You've got me. So checkmate, my friend.
Fair
Nice.
play.
But yeah, I'll link your channel below as well because that's a beautiful thing for me as well. The fact that your life is flourishing in a
Yeah.
multitude of areas. You've got the YouTube channel. You're actually showing yourself out in the
Yeah.
field. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. If that first time that we spoke on the phone, where you're thinking to yourself, just the thought of going over to a girl scares me, and now
Wow.
you're putting this content out there, literally showing yourself in the field,
Right.
like that takes a lot of balls. It really does. So yeah, I'll put your links below so the guys can go show you some love. The channel is growing as well, which is great for me to see. You're having you're having some good viral videos as well, which is great.
Yeah.
I've noticed a few of your videos have been picked up by the algorithm, so you're doing something right. So yeah, continue to do. I can see like a nice little community forming as well. You've got
Yeah.
some recurring commenters, which is great. You know,
Yeah.
it's nice, right? It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing to be able to put your passion out there for the world to see.
yeah, and like have a somewhat positive reaction too, which is nice. Absolutely.
Good. Well, thank you for taking time to have this discussion.
Thank you
Thank
as
you to
well.
everybody who's been listening as well and who's stayed till the end. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this discussion. Hopefully, you boys have got a lot of value from it. If you have,
Yep.
then just give it a like. It takes like 2 seconds, and it tells us that you enjoy the content that we're creating. Anyway, we'll do another one of these again in the future, of course. But yeah, for now, what day is it with you? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday over here. So
Great.
getting my weekend started.
Yeah, early on in the Saturday. So listen,
Yeah,
enjoy your Saturday. Do what you need to do. We'll speak
absolutely.
again, and yeah, catch you in the
Yeah.
next one.
Yep. Don't forget, stay sexy.
There we go. You stay
I
sexy,
stole your
okay?
catchphrase, man.
Mate, I was thinking like, wait, what's he waiting for me to say? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, did we have like an agreement with?
Fuck.
I was like, subscribe to Ephraim. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
subscribe to Ephraim. Do that.
Right.
Nice one, yeah.
All right.
Sexy stay. All right, bye.